Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your TLC pay-per-view results. Not the TLC. It's the TNA Final Resolution results. Apologize for that. But first, some brief TNA wrestling news. Kurt Angle turned 44. He was born December 9th, 1968. Also, he celebrates his birthday by working an 8-man tag match at the pay-per-view. Angle will teamed with Garrett Bischoff, Samoa Joe, and Wes Briscoe as they won their four members. They faced off their four members of Aces and Eights. And one of the masked members was Mike Knox, as you'll find out later. TNA wrestler Kurt Angle suffered a groin tear in the match as well on the pay-per-view. And after the pay-per-view, is that I have a little groin injury. Angle wrote, "Hope it's okay for the next three shows, being Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and they have not yet taped the middle part of the December 20th episode, because I only got three matches for the results." And he quoted by saying, "I will wrestle through my groin tear because I'm a cyborg. Nothing can hurt me as long as my Twitter friends believe in me. Follow Angle online at twitter.com/real Kurt Angle." Man, I wish Percy Harvin's Twitter friends have believed in him. Anyway, it sounds like Angle is confident he can work. There's a major storyline issue for him coming out of the pay-per-view on Sunday, so TNA would be wise to let him rest. If he gets the week off, he wouldn't be scheduled to wrestle again until the new year. Until the New York live events that begin December 29th, which kicks off the new year as well. And now, finally, what everybody's been waiting for, Final Resolution results, live from the pay-per-view, or in the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida. The show opened up with a video focused on Jeff Hardy versus Bobby Roode main event, including the Hardy Inner Dialogue commentary. Tom Kennelly, Mike Tenay, and Taz introduced the show as the power went off in the building. James Storm came to the ring, who was not scheduled, but he came in his ring gear, so he's demanding a match. And as I said, they wasn't sure that Storm was up what he was up to, since he was not advertised. Storm said he was there to ruin Roode's celebration party before he even had a chance. He called for Roode to join him so that he could punch him in the face. Storm tried to deliver his catchphrase, but he was interrupted by Kazarian walking out to the stage and recalled Willie Nelson singing, "Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys." As he said, everyone has had to listen to Storm whine and complain, and noted that he's drunk. Fans cheered. Kazarian called Storm a goat roper, and he said it was time for Storm to cut his dime store Toby Keith routine and ride off into the sunshine. Oops. Should have been sunset. So you had all day long to sit back there and think of a promo, and that's the only crap you could come up with, Kazarian? Storm responded. Storm said they don't like moonshine where he comes from. They don't like moonshine where he comes from. They like moonshine. Kazarian mocked the crowd for cheering by mockingly cheering, "We drink too." Funny segment. Storm challenged Kazarian to take the ass kicking he had planned for Roode. Kazarian said that there was no referee and the match wasn't sanctioned. Storm said he didn't need a referee to whoop Kazarian's ass. And a referee came out and pointed Kazarian to the ring. Storm met Kazarian at ringside and attacked him. The match started once they entered the ring, and the referee called for the bell. The crowd was most responsive to their drinking lines, which is funny considering what Kazarian had to say. I could have done without Storm mentioning promo when there was such an easy way around using the insider terminology. Kazarian had some funny lines, but he sounded like a wrestler trying to remember his lines that he did a confident performer on the mic. That being said, he's shown real improvement on the stick this year. So we get Jay Storm versus Kazarian. Storm worked the match in his t-shirt. He hit the code breaker at 5 minutes 30 seconds in and worked up the responsive call for the last call super kick. Kazarian pulled the referee in front of him. Kazarian came right back and went for his finisher, but Storm slipped out and hit the last call super kick for the win. 5 minutes 35 seconds. Quick unadvertised opener. It's odd that Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe were advertised for the show, yet not Storm wasn't. The announcer spoke at ringside and narrated footage of Impact of Aces and Eights helping Bobby Roode on Impact. There was some confusion after the footage aired. Ken Lee looked a bit lost, and Taz had to ad-lib for him. Separate shots aired of Jeff Hardy and Bobby Roode walking backstage. Probably a split screen. I was at work trying to catch the pay-per-view, and I did not catch it until the main event. Ken Lee seemed a bit a bit lost in time. So much of what he says is a cliche. He directs traffic and thus should feel like the leader of the trio. Yet Tenay and Taz seem more authoritative. Of course, they're the veterans. It's still early in Ken Lee's run, so that could change. Match number 2, RVD versus Kenny King for the TNA title. RVD and King shook hands to start the match. Tenay said King told him that this is his dream match because he watched RVD in ECW and modeled his offense after him. RVD caught King with a kick. King came back right back with a RVD-like kick of his own, which was well timed considering the story Tenay was helping the wrestlers tell. Van Dam sold it well by going to ringside to regroup for a moment. Well, 3 minutes 45 seconds in, Van Dam went to the top rope. King caught him with a kick that knocked him to the floor. King looked into the camera and asked, "Did you see that?" King rolled RVD back inside the ring and got a 2 count. They slowed the pace with King grabbing a hold for a couple of minutes. And then King crotched RVD on the top rope and then caught him with an errant kick to the back. Insert your own joke there. Here about using RVD style. Van Dam mounted a comeback and hit some of his signature spots, including a monkey flip out of the corner and rolling thunder. He went to the top rope, and King cut him off again. Van Dam shoved King off the top rope, but King backflipped and landed on his feet. Van Dam caught King with a kick off the top rope, then missed a five-star frog splash. King set up a move that Ken Lee recognized and said won him a previous match, but Van Dam avoided it and caught him with a leg scissors roll up for the win. And RVD pinned Kenny in 9 minutes 20 seconds to retain the X Division title. I like the way Tenay helped the story of the match. Either way, got lucky, or it's more likely that there was a better communication between the talent and the broadcast team. The live crowd didn't have a reason to like or dislike King, so the match lacked that spark. They need to establish King's character. I wasn't blown away by the match, but they could have had a better rivalry here if they continue to play up the way King modeled his offense after RVD's. I'm ready for a real program rather than the monthly number 1 contenders match to set the X Division title match for the pay-per-view. Backstage segment. Jeremy Borash interviewed Chris Daniels, who said history will repeat and that he was a better man than AJ. Match number 3, Chavo Jr. and Hernandez versus Matt Morgan and Joey Ryan for the TNA tag titles. Ryan and Chavo started things out. They set up the big men being in the ring together a couple of minutes later. Morgan took a couple of shoulder blocks, but bounced off the ropes and didn't go down. Hernandez went for a third, only to eat a discus clothesline. Morgan glared hard into the camera and then tagged in Ryan. Ryan's over for a bit and then tagged Morgan into the match. Morgan roughed up Chavo, stared into the camera again, and then tagged in Ryan. Once again, Ryan ended up taking the offense from the champion. Morgan checked in illegally and suplexed Hernandez, which drew a gasp from the crowd. Morgan picked up Ryan and dropped him on Hernandez for a 2 count. Hernandez came right back with a backbreaker. Hernandez backed into the corner and took a headbutt from Morgan. Hernandez then hits Morgan with multiple clotheslines and eventually knocks Morgan to the floor. Morgan landed on his feet. Chavo hit the frog splash on Ryan and had the pin, but Morgan pulled the referee to the floor. Chavo dove onto Morgan, who caught him and ran him into the post. Hernandez performed a big dive over the top onto Morgan and finally knocked him down. Taz noted that one of the wrestlers said, "This isn't over." Chavo and Hernandez defeated Matt Morgan and Joey Ryan by disqualification at 10 minutes 45 seconds. Good news is that good news is that Morgan looked dominant, and there could be money in him playing this role if he works with the right top babyface. Bad news is that one of the wrestlers said that this isn't over, meaning Morgan and Ryan will continue to team for no apparent reason. I'm still not sure what the point of pairing them is. There's definitely a place for Ryan in TNA, but it's not as Morgan's tag partner, manager. Sure, but not tag partner or even a little buddy wrestler. By the way, the finish was odd considering we've seen tag wrestlers do that spot before without being disqualified. I didn't even know the match was over because I still can't hear the ring bell on TNA television after all these years. Backstage segment. JB, Jeremy Borash, interviewed A-Double, who said he's going to keep pushing buttons because the squeaky wheel gets the grease. What you gonna do when Austin Mania runs wild on you, brother? As Aries concluded. A video recapping the Aries, Bully Ray, Brooke Hogan, and Hogan saga. Match number 4, A-Double versus Bully Ray. Aries is the smartest man in TNA after all. He pointed out that the chain that Ray keeps in his corner of the ring to the referee. However, Earl Hebner is apparently the dumbest man in TNA because he didn't seem to have a problem with it. I'd keep a machete in my corner. I'd have the most beheadings in TNA history. I'd be undefeated until someone topped me by keeping a gun in their corner. Maybe I'm a little bit too harsh on Earl Hebner after all. It's also okay for Ray to wrestle with a chain around his neck. Maybe 2 wrongs really do make a right. Ray sold for Aries early on. A-Double generated good heat by playing to the crowd. Ray came back and performed a missile drop kick around 7 minutes in that drew holy shit chants from the crowd. Ray charged at A-Double, who lowered the top rope, causing Ray to fall and tumble to the floor at ringside. A-Double went for a suicide dive only to run into Ray's foot. Later in the match, the crowd chanted for tables as Aries was at ringside. Ray went after him and was tripped into the ring steps. Ray bladed and was sporting a heck of a crimson mask. Brooke Hogan ran out and checked on Ray. Aries pulled her inside the ring. Ray recovered and threw Aries to ringside. Hulk Hogan walked to ringside and glared at Brooke and Ray. Ray told Hogan they needed to get Brooke out of there. Hogan grabs his daughter by the hand and pulled her toward the back. Aries then low-blowed Ray and rolled him up for the win. Aries rolled to ringside and put Ray's hat on his head and did the Stan Hansen sign and call. Funny spot. Aries pointed at his head and walked toward the back. So, A-Double pinned Bully Ray in 12 minutes 30 seconds. The finish took away any chance they had of equaling their match of sacrifice. Actually, they weren't on their way to reaching that point. As good as Aries is as a heel, he's dynamic with Ray is better when Aries is the underdog babyface and Ray is the bully heel. Still, it was interesting. I mean, it was entertaining until Hogan family involvement. Raise your hand if 6 months ago you thought Ray and Brooke would be teased as a couple. Okay, now that you have your hand up, put it down because you're a goddamn liar. Backstage segment. Jesse ran through texts from celebrities he claimed were sent to him, wishing Tara good luck. Match number 5. Tara with Jesse versus Mickie James for the TNA Knockout title. Taryn Terrell was the referee for the match, as always. That's what her thing is. Her deal with TNA is she's just a referee. Mickie wrestled the match in bib cutoffs and a tied-off shirt. She looked like a pre-nudity picture for Playboy spread. Not that I have a lot of experience looking at photos like those. Mickie controlled the early offense and knocked Tara and Jesse to the ringside. When they embraced, Tara used a Jesse distraction to regain control. Tara went for the widow's peak, but Mickie avoided it and rolled her up. But Taryn was distracted by Jesse. Later, Mickie hit the Thesz press off the top rope onto Tara at ringside. She kicked Jesse off the apron, but Tara recovered and hit the widow's peak inside the ring for the win. And the match took 7 minutes 55 seconds out of our lives as she retained the Knockout title. They made good use of Jesse even though the act isn't over. They hugged and kissed and are lucky if they get one boo out of it. The act still looks like something that they would have better for Madison Rayne. It's decent for light comedy moments at times, but I'd give up the light comedy for better knockouts matches, which we would be getting with Tara as champion if they weren't coming up with all the Jesse interference spots. Backstage segment with JB interviewing Bobby Roode, who said he promised himself he would do whatever it took to get his title back. He said he would prove to the world it pays to be rude. He said his investment pays off, money talks, bullshit walks, as he's ending the segment. Not Roode's finest moment on the mic. I guess he's trying to establish that either his investment in Aces and Eights, roughing up Hardy, will pay off, or the possibility that they'll get involved tonight. I'll take the latter on that one, because it's NWO writing. A video package set up the 8-man tag match. Match number 6, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Garrett Bischoff, and Wes Briscoe defeated Doc, Devon, and 2 masked wrestlers of Aces and Eights, one being Mike Knox. In the 8-man tag, the announcers laid it on thick while talking about how Bischoff and Briscoe have respected and handled their business right away. The heels had the first prolonged period of offense as they took turns working over Samoa Joe. The crowd taunted Devon with a "you sold out" chants at one point. Joe came back with slamming a masked wrestler onto the other masked wrestler. Angle took the hot tag and performed angle slams while